Welcome back to the deep dive, everyone. Today, our mission is to dissect this exact anatomy of institutional betrayal.
It's going to be a heavy one.
Oh, absolutely. We are plunging straight into chapters 8 and 9 of Iron Flame because it is conscription day again at Basgiath War College.
The dreaded conscription day.
Yep, who will be joining our Iron Squad this year. So we're going to be reading between the lines of Navarre's incredibly deadly politics today. We'll be cross-referencing the official text with character encyclopedias and pulling out some brilliant tactical analyses from the fandom to unpack exactly how these characters are surviving.
Because it is purely about survival at this point.
Exactly. And honestly, if you're listening to this and you've ever had to navigate a toxic environment, or if you've ever felt just completely overwhelmed trying to separate truth from, like, state-sponsored propaganda.
Which, let's be real, is highly relatable.
Right. You are going to see a lot of your own daily struggles reflected in Violet Sorrengail's fight for survival in these chapters.
And she is doing it while operating inside a physical ecosystem that is explicitly designed to mask assassinations as, tragic accidents.
Yeah, air quotes around tragic accidents. Okay, so let's unpack this. We start right at the parapet. Conscription day. And I really want you to put yourself in Violet's boots right now.
Mm-hmm.
The heat is just oppressive. People are literally sweating buckets out there. She is standing at the edge of the drop, taking the names of the candidates who are about to risk their lives to cross.
And she has her mental shields fully, just aggressively raised.
Yes. Why? Because Dane Ados is standing right in front of her.
The physical proximity in this scene is incredibly loaded. I mean, Dane's signet, as we know, allows him to read memories through touch.
Right, which is terrifying.
But it's the psychological proximity that's the real threat here. This is the guy who read her memories without her consent.
Ugh, yes.
And then he handed that raw intelligence over to his father, which effectively sent Violet and her entire squad into a lethal venom trap at Athabine.
Exactly. And I really want to push back on a narrative I've seen floating around. Some people are saying Violet is just, like, following orders by staying away from Dane, like she's just doing what Zodin told her to do.
Oh, I completely disagree with that take.
Right. It totally misreads her agency in this chapter. She isn't avoiding Dane out of some stubborn loyalty to Zodin's wishes. In fact, if you read her physical cues, she is fighting this massive, overwhelming, visceral urge to just shove Dane right off that stone bridge herself.
Yeah, the intrusive thoughts are winning, honestly.
Literally.
All right.
She is only keeping her boots planted because she made a promise to Liam as he died. She has to be there to ensure his little sister, Sloane, makes it across. She is enduring her betrayer's presence purely out of duty.
What's really fascinating here, though, is Dane's reaction to her coldness.
Oh my gosh, his face.
Yeah, it gives us a deep dive into the psychology of a systemic rule follower. If you analyze his facial expressions and his body language in this scene, Dane looks genuinely hurt.
Which is wild.
He does. He seems completely baffled by the depth of Violet's hostility. The look on his face assures me that he really didn't know what he was doing when he gave that information to his father.
Okay, but I mean, my guy, you literally sent her to an execution.
I know.
How can you possibly look hurt? Can we really just chalk this up to him being naive? Because, like, in a military command structure, willful ignorance isn't a valid defense.
No, it's not.
If a middle manager blindly follows the orders of a corrupt CEO and bankrupts the company, they don't get to just shrug and say, well, I was following the employee handbook.
That's a brilliant analogy, actually, and it cuts right to the core of Dane's character flaw. It's not just naivety, it's a pathological reliance on institutional authority.
Yeah.
Dane equates obedience with morality. He genuinely believed that by reporting a rule violation, the system would process it fairly.
Like with a tribunal or something.
Exactly, or a formal reprimand. His brain literally cannot compute that the institution he worships would operate a shadow death squad.
It's just beyond his comprehension.
So when he looks at Violet, he doesn't see someone he tried to kill. He sees a friend who is unfairly punishing him for doing his civic duty. His hurt expression proves that he is completely blind to the systemic corruption. He is playing at a sanitized version of war.
He prioritizes the letter of the law over the spirit of human morality. It's just so infuriating.
It really is.
But hey, speaking of complex moral compasses and doing terrible things for the quote-unquote right reasons, we really need to talk about Lilith Sorrengail.
Oh, Mama Sorrengail. Yes.
Because it just clicked for me. And I don't think we've ever discussed Lilith's signet here before, have we?
No, I don't think we did. We haven't explored the mechanics of it at all.
Okay, so Mama Sorrengail's signet is storm-wielding. which just put a massive smile on my face when I finally put the pieces together.
Because of the connection to Violet.
Exactly. Violet wields lightning, and her mother is a storm wielder. It brings so much credence to that line Lilith drops at the beginning of this book. You know, the one where she says, "You're more like me than I thought."
Oh, that line hits so different now.
Right. Like, throughout Fourth Wing, Violet always shivers at the thought of being similar to her mother. She bonded the second most powerful dragon on the continent, and she has this incredibly volatile lightning signet.
And Lilith is perceived as just so cold, unyielding, merciless.
Yeah, I think Violet just hates how pragmatic and unfeeling her mother seems towards her, but deep down, she knows Lilith loves her. They are cut from the same energetic cloth.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of Lilith's behavior, her love for Violet is entirely tactical.
Tactical love, I like that phrasing.
Yeah, it's survival-based. She didn't force Violet into the Rider's Quadrant to punish her. She did it because she knew the Scribe Quadrant would inevitably assassinate Violet.
Because Violet is too smart for her own good.
Exactly. Once her intellect uncovered the state's lies about the Venin, she'd be a target. The Rider's Quadrant gave her a fighting chance.
And here's where it gets really interesting regarding that tactical love. Let's look back at Violet's own conscription day last year. Lilith called a rainstorm.
Right, the freezing rain.
For a long time, the interpretation was, wow, what a brutal, unforgiving mother, making a deadly, slippery parapet even more treacherous for her frail daughter.
Especially for someone with her connective tissue issues.
Exactly. So the question is, Lilith called the storm to help Violet last year. How on earth would rain have helped her cross the parapet?
It seems completely counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
Until you analyze the physics of the parapet and the behavior of the cadets.
Okay, break this down for me.
So on a dry, high-friction surface, a strong, aggressive cadet walking behind Violet could easily rush her.
Oh.
They could shove her, trip her, or throw her off balance to eliminate the competition without risking their own footing.
Because they have good traction.
Right. It happens all the time. It's an accepted part of the culling process. But think about how slippery it was with the rain.
Oh man, the coefficient of friction on wet stone.
Exactly. If the surface is slick with rain, the person following you has to be hyper-focused on their own center of gravity. You cannot afford to lunge or rush the person in front of you if shifting your momentum will send you sliding off the edge.
Wow, that's such an interesting take.
The rain wasn't a punishment. It was Lilith's covert, mechanically brilliant way of neutralizing the threat of the other cadets. She altered the physics of the environment to protect her daughter's blind spot.
That completely reframes their entire dynamic for me. It is cold, it's calculated, but it is undeniably an act of protection.
It really is.
But anyway, shifting back to the present conscription day, things are changing, and not for the better. Dane tells us that there are only 91 dragons willing to bond this year.
Which is a huge red flag. This raises an important question about the macro politics of the continent. Why exactly 91? Why is that number dropping so precipitously?
Right, because last year there were over 100. A drop that sharp isn't just like a statistical anomaly.
No, not at all. It's a political statement. We have to remember that the Empyrean is an entirely separate, highly intelligent, sovereign political body.
They aren't just pets.
Exactly. They have their own factions, their own debates, and their own foreign policy. And right now, the Empyrean is deeply conflicted about getting involved in the human war.
Against the Venin, you mean?
Right. They know Navarre's leadership is lying. They know the Venins are massing and draining the earth. By offering fewer dragons to bond, the dragons are pulling back.
They're hedging their bets.
Yes, the conservative faction is winning the argument. They're conserving their strength and signaling their absolute lack of faith in Navarre's current strategy.
And Dane, who is just completely oblivious to the nuances of dragon politics, is just looking at the numbers, stressing out over the deficit, and trying to assert his authority to compensate.
You can really see it in how he carries himself.
Hold up, I just want to note, both the readers and the characters take note of how desperate Dane is to be as imposing as Xaden was as a leader.
It's almost embarrassing.
It is. Like, my guy, you are too concerned with the rules to ever have the same leadership mentality that Xaden has going for him.
Because true leadership, especially in a combat environment, requires cognitive agility.
Yes, cognitive agility. I love that.
It requires the ability to look at a rule, understand the intent behind it, and instantly calculate when it must be broken to ensure the survival of your people.
Which Xaden does flawlessly.
Right. Xaden operates outside the corrupt laws of Navarre because he understands that the laws are designed to protect the state, not the citizens. Dane clings to the rules because they are his psychological safety blanket. You cannot be an effective, imposing leader when your default response to a crisis is to ask a corrupt authority figure for permission to act.
Exactly. You can't inspire troops when you're just like a hall monitor with a sword.
A hall monitor with a sword, that is perfectly stated.
Thanks. And speaking of people who see right through the institutional rules, Prince Cam is here to join the main cast, or, Aaric Graycastle, as he's calling himself.
Aaric is a phenomenal addition to the tactical landscape of the story.
He really is. He's King Tori's third son, right?
Yes, and if we pull from the character encyclopedias, we know his background is not military at all, it's diplomatic.
Oh, interesting.
He speaks fluent Umbrish, Silish, Hidotic, even sign language. He is highly educated, incredibly observant, and he holds a deep-seated contempt for his father.
So why does a royal prince who could live a life of absolute luxury give up his titles to risk burning to death on a parapet?
Because his education made him immune to the state's propaganda.
Okay, tell me more.
Aaric noticed a tiny, seemingly insignificant detail. The royal guards in his father's palace started carrying alloy-imbued daggers.
Wait, really?
Yes. Now, to an uneducated civilian, a dagger is just a dagger. But to a prince trained in diplomacy and statecraft, the metallurgy of the kingdom's armory tells a story.
'Cause alloy is what they use to kill Venin.
Exactly. He knows that alloy is exceptionally rare, difficult to forge, and has only one true tactical application. If the guards inside the safest palace in the world are suddenly armed with Venin-killing weapons...
It means the threat is already inside the borders?
Precisely. Aaric reverse-engineered the truth from a supply chain discrepancy. He realized his father was lying about the war, and he joined the Riders to find the truth himself.
He'd rather dismantle the family business than inherit it. He is the absolute anti-Dane.
He really is.
Dane has all the raw evidence shoved in his face and ignores it, while Aaric sees one metallurgical clue and immediately rebels.
It's a stark contrast.
It is. But Aaric isn't the only one bringing heavy emotional baggage to the parapet. We finally get to Sloane Mairi, Liam's little sister.
This confrontation is just a masterclass in psychological warfare.
Sloane makes it to the parapet, and the moment she sees Violet, she is just openly hostile. She somehow found out that Violet was the reason for Liam's death, which we all know she wasn't.
Right, Liam died a hero.
Exactly, but I have to ask, wait, who actually told Sloane this? Who is controlling this narrative?
If we look at the mechanics of information suppression, this has Colonel Ados and Professor Markham written all over it.
Oh, 100%.
The leadership is trapped in a paradox. They absolutely cannot admit how Liam died, because admitting he was killed by Venin means admitting the borders are failing.
Right.
However, Liam was a prominent cadet. His death requires an official explanation. So they deploy a targeted disinformation campaign. They likely seeded the lie that Violet's incompetence got him killed.
It's so insidious because it solves multiple problems for the leadership simultaneously. It covers up the Venin threat, but it also strategically isolates Violet.
Exactly.
It turns the incoming generation of marked ones against her before they even cross the bridge. Anyway, Sloane makes it across the parapet and got sorted into Fourth Wing.
Yes, she survives the crossing.
And you'd think, okay, the immediate danger has passed, take a breath. But then the whole quadrant just got torched by Solas.
A horrific escalation.
Yeah, a first-year runner panics and breaks formation. We know the brutal rules, runners get torched. But Major Burton Varrish's dragon, Solas, takes it to a terrifying new level. He killed nearly half the quadrant, both bonded and unbonded cadets.
He unleashes a massive, sustained blast of dragon fire.
And I just gotta ask, what the fuck? You were only supposed to weed out the weak within the first years, not take out already bonded riders? Violet's back is severely scorched, just diving out of the way.
To understand what just happened, we have to look past the chaos and analyze the casualty list. Imogen later tells us a critical piece of intelligence.
That seer is dead.
Yes, Sieran, one of the marked ones who survived the Venin attack at Athabine, is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just got assassinated in front of everyone.
That is sickening.
This wasn't an accident. Varrish and Solas used the chaos of conscription day to publicly execute a political liability.
Wow.
By torching a wide swath of the formation, Varrish eliminates Sieran and successfully masks the assassination as collateral damage.
It gives the state the absolute power of execution with complete plausible deniability.
And Violet also takes note of how the brutality of the Riders' Quadrant is actually preparing them for the real battle beyond the wards. If you can survive your own commanders, you might survive a Venin.
That is so bleak. But Varrish and Solas get greedy, and Terran intervenes. Terran arrives and basically tells Solas to back off.
The power dynamic there is amazing.
And we also learn that there is history between Terran and Solas, right? Like, Terran previously took one of Solas's eyes.
Which is a crucial detail. It establishes that dragon politics are just as violent and deeply personal as human politics.
Yeah.
By Terran asserting his dominance and humiliating Solas in front of the entire quadrant, Violet inherits the fallout.
We have now officially made an enemy of Major Varrish after Terran told Solas to fuck off.
Varrish is a man whose entire psychological profile is built on sadistic authority. He will never forgive that.
And that looming threat sets the stage for Chapter 9. We pivot from this explosive physical danger to a deeply internal struggle. Chapter 9, Violet has PTSD and isn't sleeping.
The depiction of trauma here is incredibly visceral.
She has been running every morning because she has been dreaming about the death wave that one of the Venin did at Rysant. She is just using the physical pain of running to drown out the terror.
But she isn't suffering alone. Imogen sees that and decides to join her morning runs because she also isn't sleeping.
Right.
What we are witnessing here is the mechanics of a trauma bond actively reshaping the social hierarchy of the quadrant. Former bullies and rivals are becoming a tight-knit unit.
It's a beautiful, yet incredibly tragic evolution of their dynamic. But amidst this new alliance, we find out Xaden didn't show up yesterday when he and his dragon were supposed to be on leave to see Violet and Terran.
And in the context of this magic system, a missed rendezvous isn't just an emotional disappointment.
It is literal physical pain.
Exactly. Because of the mating bond between Terran and Skyle, prolonged physical separation causes actual physical agony for the dragons.
Ugh, that sounds awful.
And that agony bleeds directly into Violet and Xaden's nervous systems.
I really want the listeners to think about the anxiety of waiting for a partner who doesn't show up. You know, you're checking your phone, your mind races to the worst-case scenario.
Now multiply that by 1,000.
Exactly. Add in the fact that your partner is stationed at a highly dangerous, active military outpost, and top it all off with magical physical pain radiating through your spine. It's just so much for her to carry.
It isolates her even further while she's trying to survive Varrish's scrutiny.
Which brings us to the first battle brief of the year. Violet walks into this classroom, and Violet can't stop noticing what is not being shown.
This scene is a masterclass in reading between the lines.
They are at war. This class is supposed to be showing them the active battleground and the front lines. So now she is reading between the lines of what is being said and what is not because she knows they are withholding information.
The dynamic between the instructors, Devra and Markham, is highly symbolic of the state's propaganda machine.
It is exactly like watching a censored state-sponsored broadcast.
Right, and the official story they present is that Poramish Griffins were conducting unprovoked attacks on outposts.
But the real situation is that the Griffins are robbing the outposts for weapons to fight against the Venin, while Navarre is using them as a cover-up.
Exactly. They need the alloy. Navarre uses these localized Griffin raids as a politically acceptable cover-up for the existential war happening just beyond the wards.
Anyhow, Rhiannon notices a massive red flag that corroborates this. She notices that there's something up in the healer's quadrant because no one can get an appointment.
The entire medical infrastructure of the college is booked solid.
Right. If Navarre is truly only dealing with minor border skirmishes, why is the entire hospital at capacity?
Because the casualties coming back from the Venin engagements are massive.
They are taking all these broken, dying soldiers and hiding them away in the restricted healer's quadrant to keep the rest of the college in the dark.
It's a chilling logistical reality. The medical system is the canary in the coal mine.
It really is. And it proves that Violet and her squad are entirely on their own. And it turns out today is also assessment day.
Where they strip away the magic and test raw physical combat readiness.
Right. And Sloane was asked to fight with Aaric, but she insists on fighting Violet, fueled by that manufactured hatred we talked about.
But Professor Amaterio intervenes.
Yeah, he vetoes the match and assigns Sloane to fight Aaric instead. But the real horror happens off the official mats. A giant, unbonded first year approaches looking for Violet, and Nadine is dead for pretending to be Violet.
A second-year cadet, murdered in cold blood in the middle of a crowded gymnasium.
Nadine jokingly says she's Violet, and in an instant, the first year snaps Nadine's neck.
Oh.
Now, I have to pause here. If you want to assassinate someone, why send a clumsy first-year student in broad daylight?
It seems messy, right? But the messiness is intentional camouflage.
Really?
Yeah. If we pull from the Reddit discussions on Ado Sr.'s methods, He doesn't use highly trained professional assassins because that would draw immediate suspicion.
Oh, that makes sense. A clean hit would launch a massive investigation.
Exactly. Instead, he bribes desperate cadets and relies on the natural, chaotic brutality of the War College to mask his hits.
It gives him perfect, plausible deniability.
A cadet dying in a sparring match or a dragon fire incident just gets written off as a tragic accident. It's a terrifying strategy.
That is deeply sinister. Tactically, it means anyone standing near Violet could be a sleeper agent. Nadine died just for making a joke at the wrong time.
It forces Violet into an impossible state of hypervigilance.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We aren't dodging Dragonfire, hopefully, but the massive shift in the story here is relevant.
Absolutely.
The danger is no longer just gravity or dragons, it's the leadership itself. Violet is surviving by reading between the lines, questioning the official narrative, and relying on trauma-bonded allies.
When evaluating news, workplace politics, or media, you should always ask the exact same questions Violet is asking.
Yeah, like what aren't they showing me, and who benefits from this narrative?
Institutions will almost always prioritize their own self-preservation over the truth.
Well said. Which leaves us with a chilling question to ponder before the next deep dive. If General Ados is willing to use disposable first years to snap necks in broad daylight inside the most secure military college in the world, what horrific lengths is he going to outside the wards where no one is watching?
A truly terrifying thought to end on.
Until next time, keep your shields up, watch your blind spots, and always read between the lines.